All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So the screen that you're seeing now is the HR Support Center. It is the home screen. So as soon as you log in, this is the screen that you'll be presented with. The first time that you log into the HR Support Center, it is going to ask you to verify all of your company information, as well as the state that you are operated in, and the amount of employees that you have at your company. After all that has been verified, this is the home screen that you're going to see. And I'm going to go over what you have available in the HR Support Center, as well as what's available to you with our HR On Demand service, which is the unlimited consulting service. All right. So here on the home page, you can, if you have HR On Demand, which again is that unlimited consulting service, you can ask the pro a question straight from the home page. You can go ahead and have your handbook reviewed or have one created from scratch from one of our HR pros. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit in more depth later. And you can also request to have custom documents created for you. Right below that, we're going to have what's new for you. So the HR Support Center is going to be catered to what you're following and the state that you operate in. So all new information that's related to you is going to show up here, as well as anything new that's been added. Going to be right here as well. Then right below that, we're going to have a recent Q&A stream. So these are all actual questions and answers that have been answered by our certified HR professionals. We sanitize them of any company-specific information and provide you the best advice that our HR pro gave. Right next to that, we have our most popular content. And then from the news desk, these are going to be e-alerts, and I'll kind of talk about those a little bit later. And then right below that, we have my favorites. So most things within the support center can be favorited, and then all of those favorites will be stored here. And then our newest or most featured training is going to be right here as well. And then let me go along the top. So right here is going to be your My Account tab. Under your My Profile tab, this is going to be all of your company-specific information, your address. Underneath company, it's going to ask you for total number of employees, which is really important when you use the Ask the Pro service because different laws and regulations apply depending on the size of your organization. I'm going to go ahead and go to My Subscriptions under the My Account next. So upon signing up for the service, you're going to automatically be enrolled into our e-alert system, which again I'll kind of go over later. And you're going to be enrolled in the federal e-alerts as well as your state's e-alerts. But let's say you operate in multiple states, or you want to be in the know about anything employment law related, HR compliance, or HR reporting. In other states, you can go straight to your My Account, My Subscriptions, and then you can drag over all states that you operate in or any states that you would like to follow. Right over next is going to be My Messages. So My Messages is going to be any time, let's say you have a ticket out that our HR pros are answering, and then as soon as they answer that ticket, there will be a little 1 right there or 2, depending on how many questions you've answered, letting you know that the HR pro has answered the question. And once you click on that, it will bring you straight to the My Tickets section, which I'll show you a little bit later. Contact us. This is where you're going to go if you have any questions about the support center, or you can't find anything, or you just are generally looking for something in particular. You can go ahead and ask those here, and then we will go ahead and get back to you within 1 business day. Right here is HR Concierge. So HR Concierge is actually a live chat feature that if you have HR on demand, you can actually chat live with our team. They are available 12 hours a day. And so let's say that you can't find the 1094C form within the support center. you can go ahead and just chat our team live, and they'll get right back to you. Next to that is the feedback tab. So we're always looking for feedback. So any feedback that you could provide, we would definitely listen and love to hear from you. And then the logout button. So go straight back to the home page again. So now I'm going to go into the laws tab. So first thing we have is at a glance. So like I said, the HR Support Center is going to be catered to you and your state. So for instance, you're going to have the minimum wage laws, it's going to have overtime laws, final wage laws, state laws, break laws, etc. And then right over here on the right-hand side, it's going to have the facts and figures on that state, as well as the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development, their website and phone number. And again, you can go ahead and select a different state as well right over here on the left-hand side. Next is federal laws and state laws, but I'm actually going to skip over those and go to Law Finder because it actually pulls federal and state laws together in one area. And again, as you can see, it's pulling up Massachusetts and federal information first. And all the laws can be filtered by topic. So let's say you want to know about disability. You can go ahead and hit that. And then it's going to list the federal specific disability laws first, and then the state specific disability laws. And again, if you're reading over the laws and you're not quite understanding it, if you have that HR On Demand service, you can actually just click Ask the Pro right here, and it'll take you right to the Ask the Pro page where you can go ahead and ask our HR pros any question that you have. And our HR pros are available Monday through Friday, 12 hours a day, so 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific, or 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next is our Learning tab. So first, it's going to be our 2-minute HR. So these are videos that are 2 to 3 minutes long. We come out with a minimum of 1 a month. So we have interview and compliance, basics of state media laws, what is the definition of a work week, etc. And all of this content is created by the same HR professionals who will be answering all of your HR questions as well. And again, it can always be filtered by topic. Next are articles. So under the articles section, our HR pros come out with 1 to 2 articles each month on various HR topics. So again, the most recent ones are state disability insurance programs, terminating a well-liked employee. And if you go ahead and click on that, it's going to go ahead and have the article here for you to go ahead and read over. And then it's going to have any highlights, recommended, and related content right over on the left-hand side. And here's that favorite button that I was talking about. So let's say that you really enjoy this article, but you didn't get a chance to finish it, or you would like to share it with a colleague. You can go ahead and hit favorite, and then you'll easily be able to get back to it. All right, next under the Learning tab we have is HR Cast. So the HR Cast are podcasts, so it's just an audio component, no visual component, that you can go ahead and listen to at your leisure. Our most recent one was 4 Ways to Prevent Workplace Harassment. In December, we created the Healthcare Reform Looking Ahead 2016. We have Marijuana in the Workplace. And again, you can always filter by topic. Next, we have infographics. So infographics are just a nice way. It's our creative team and our HR pros get together to make HR look more approachable. So for instance, we have the pros and cons of PTO, meet the millennials, some state-specific leave policies. More states are having mandatory sick leave, and they vary greatly depending on the state. So we have each state's specific sick leave policies in here. If you have any questions about navigating the employer mandate, we have a bunch of resources in here, but we also have this white paper, employee handbook infographic, as well as etc. Next in the Learning tab, we have News Desk. So the News Desk, when you sign up for the HR Support Center, you're going to automatically be enrolled in our e-alert system. And so e-alerts are where we will automatically send you an email notifying you of any changes or possible changes when it comes to employment law, HR reporting, or HR compliance. That way you're not having to hear from a friend or another business owner and it might not actually be correct. We'll automatically notify you. Even if the change isn't going to happen, we'll let you know if the change might happen just so that you know what to be prepared for. And those e-alerts come on the state as well as the federal level. And then under the News Desk, this is where all of the past ones that we've sent out are stored. That way, if you were added to the support center after the e-alert went out, or if you just can't find the email or you accidentally deleted the email, they're all going to be stored in here for you. And again, you can filter by state, and you can also filter by topic. All right, next under the Learning tab is our Q&A stream. So right here, like I mentioned before, these are all actual questions and answers that our HR pros have been asked and provided the specific advice. So, for instance, I have some questions about resumes and applications. Do I need to keep all the resumes that are sent to me? And if so, how long? And do I need to contact each person who applies to let them know that they were not hired? And then our HR pro will go into the in-depth answer on that question. Another good one is we have an employee with severe nut allergies. What accommodations do you recommend? And again, this can always be filtered by topic. All right, next is our training on demand. So unlike the 2-minute HR where the videos are only 2 to 3 minutes, a quick and easy HR topic that can be condensed in a short amount of time, these training on demand videos are 15 to 30 minutes long, and they go in depth on specific HR topics. So for instance, and we come out with a minimum of once a month, sometimes 2 a month on these training videos. So we have HR 101 hiring, building effective teams, complex wage and hour calculations, travel time and on-call pay, a new manager guide. And again, all of these videos are created by the same HR pros who are doing your handbook as well as answering your questions. So if you have any questions while you're done watching the video, you can actually call in and speak to the same HR pro who made the video. And again, it's going to have highlights over here as well as any recommended content. Next is the tools. So here's we have some calculators that we developed for any of you that are subject to the ACA mandate. We have a few ACA calculators in here. One, we have the ACA full-time equivalent calculator that will let you know if you're actually subject to the mandate. We have our ACA safe harbor calculator, which if you are subject to the mandate, this calculator will let you know whether or not the insurance that you're offering to your employees meets the mandate's requirements. And we also have ACA penalties calculator. And then we have some various employee turnover, absenteeism, cost per hire, overtime. All right, so next is the employee handbooks. So for those of you who have that HR on demand service, which is the unlimited consulting, it also includes the handbook development. And so there's 2 options for you, technically actually 3 options for you to get your handbook. The first one is the Express option. So the Express option is just a single state handbook, but it will populate the handbook within 2 hours of you completing the wizard. So it's a wizard that develops it. It's going to ask you questions about your company culture, benefits that you offer, time, your work week when it comes to when employees are paid, all those various questions, and then it's going to populate a handbook for you. The professional one, the questionnaire is going to be very similar to the Express option, But the professional one is going to be multi-state. So if you operate in multi-states, you're going to want the professional handbook. But it also includes a 1-hour consultation with an HR professional. And the HR professional is actually going to look over that handbook and make it more customized. So if you want, if you have specific policies that you want in there, you can go ahead and add them, and the HR pro will go ahead and write those policies for you. And then let's say that you already have a handbook, but you just want someone to review it to make sure it's still compliant. Then you can go ahead and click this option right here, and you can upload your current handbook, and our HR pros will go ahead and review that, give you your recommendations on your current handbook, and provide it back to you. And this also does include a 1-hour consultation with a pro who reviewed your handbook as well. Some caveats to a direct review of your handbook, of your current handbook. We can't review PDF handbooks. There's just no way for us to track changes in a PDF, so it does have to be in a Word document. And then the handbook cannot be copyrighted, so we wouldn't be able to legally review a copyrighted handbook. But no worries, if either your handbook is in a PDF form or if it's copyrighted, we will go ahead and create you a handbook from scratch. All right, so next we have our HR audit. So this is a 3-minute audit. It takes you through 10 questions, and then after the audit, it provides you a score out of 0 to 50, and then it also provides you a PDF document that explains each answer that you provided. So for instance, if you haven't had your handbook reviewed in a year, it will kind of explain why that's important and some of the risks that can happen if you don't get your handbook reviewed yearly. And all of your audits are actually going to be stored in your My Account tab, HR audits right here. Next is our job description library. So if you've ever had to write a job description, which I have, those can be very time consuming. Sometimes you're trying to think of what you want to put in there. Oftentimes you don't know what other companies have when it comes to specific duties on that job. So we have taken all that work out for you, and we have about 200 job descriptions in here that are all in a Word document and can be filtered by topic. So let's say that you want to hire an accountant. You can go ahead and click this one right here. And you can, all of the documents in the Support Center you can preview before you download. So we can preview this document, make sure it's exactly what we want. Go to page 2. And then you can go ahead and just download this job description in a Word document, like I said. That way you can customize it to your organization and add or remove anything that you would like. Now, if you didn't have, or if there was a job description in here that, or if there wasn't a job description in the library that you needed, or if you just wanted something more customized, with HR On Demand, we will actually review your current job descriptions, or we will even create a complete job description for you from scratch. Next under the Tools tab is our minimum wage map. So this is really just a fun way that we can represent minimum wages across the country. So if you were to go ahead and click on a specific state, let's say California, it's going to list obviously the minimum wage for the state, but we also have municipal level minimum wages in here as well. So some cities in California have higher minimum wages depending on the industry or the city. So we have those listed in here as well. Next is the policy library. So the policy library is going to list, let's say you already have a handbook, but something unfortunate happened at your organization and you just want to make sure it doesn't happen again, so you want to put a policy in place. This is where you would come for that. So let's say you want to implement a social media policy. And I don't think I've mentioned this before, but this entire Support Center is searchable. So as soon as I click into the search bar, notice that it opens up and it asks me if I only want to search the policy library section or if I want to search the full site. So since I'm looking for a specific policy, I'm going to just hit only policy library. And I'm going to just type in social media and hit enter. And then right here we have our social media policy. And then this is text that you would be able to copy and paste into your current handbook. That way you don't have to spend time making sure that what you wrote is compliant, or you just may not know where to start. We've done all that work for you. And if you have HR on demand, we will actually write policies for you or review policies. So let's say, like I said, something unfortunate happened and you want to make sure it doesn't happen again, we will go ahead and write a policy for you that's compliant. Or let's say you already wrote the policy, we'll actually review that policy for you to make sure that everything in there is legal. All right, so next is documents. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but under the documents tab, we have various HR checklists, forms. So under forms, we have any state-specific forms, or federal forms are going to be in there, guides and letters. So for instance, under letters, we have employee resignation letters, employee reference letters, etc. So now that I've gone through all of that, I'm going to go right back to the home page here, and I'm going to go to the Topics tab. So the Topics tab, let's for instance go to Hiring. This is how I usually suggest that you use the site, is just using the Topics tab. So for instance, I went to Hiring, and it's going to pull all of that content that I just showed you all on this one page. So you don't have to keep going from tab to tab. It's going to be all here. So notice I went to Hiring. So any 2-minute HR videos on that specific topic are going to be here. Any articles on hiring are going to be right here. Unpaid internships, so it's a good one to read. Any calculators, checklists. So we have a new employee orientation checklist, job requisition checklist, IRS independent contractor checklist. This is a good one to read. And then forms. So again, any state or federal forms that are related to hiring are going to all be here. That way you don't have to go to different government websites making sure that you've had the most up-to-date form, because we have an entire content team who is constantly updating all of this information in the support center. Any guides on hiring, any podcasts that we may have related to hiring, E-Verify is in here as well. Infographics, laws, letters. So in here we're going to have any exempt employment offer letters. So we're going to have various offer letters in here, or job candidate rejection letters. The news desk, so again, these are going to be any specific law alerts that were sent out related to that topic. Policies, question and answer, and then any training videos related to that topic are going to be in here as well. All right, and then I kind of want to show you the full site search. It looks very similar to the Topics tab. So let's say ACA reporting is really important right now. So let's say if I type in ACA or even mandate reporting. Oops, let me go ahead and refresh this page. If I go ahead and type in again, mandate reporting. And it's going to pull up everything again that has mandate reporting, and it's going to filter by content type. So our 2-minute HR on employer mandate reporting requirements is going to be here. Those ACA calculators are going to be in here. The forms, so the IRS 1095-C and the 1094-C are going to be in here. The guides, so we have the employer mandate reporting guide, which is great to read in case you don't know how to fill those forms out. And then we even have videos. So our HR Pro Ophelia created a video that you can go ahead and watch, and she literally goes line by line on how to fill out both the 1094 and 1095-C forms. And again, like I mentioned, if after watching this video you still had some ACA questions or mandate reporting questions, you can actually call in by clicking the Ask the Pro button, and you can actually speak to Ophelia, who's our IRS expert, and she will kind of answer any questions about that you may have. All right. And then next I'm going to go to the HR On Demand tab. So this is for those clients who have the upgraded HR On Demand service. The first one, like I mentioned, is the Ask the Pro. So this is where you're going to go if you have any HR questions or any employment law questions, any employee relations issues. Maybe two employees just got done fighting in the parking lot. What do I do? Or I have an employee who has bad hygiene. These are all questions that our HR pros can answer for you, as well as the the more nitty-gritty. I have an employee who has been on extended leave. I don't know if they're coming back. Is it okay if I let them go? All of those questions our HR pros are well apt in answering. And whether you submit your question online or you give us a phone call, we have a 1 business day turnaround time for all of our Ask the Pro questions. But right now we're averaging a median 2-hour response time depending on the question. Next is the document customization. So this is where you would go if you wanted an HR form created or reviewed. So we will create a form for you, but we'll also review forms that you may already have in place. And HR forms can come in the form of a job description. So like I said, we'll create those job descriptions, or any various form or letter that you would like reviewed or created. We'll go ahead and do that for you. When it comes to documents, though, we do have a 3 business day turnaround time to get those done for you. Next, under the HR On Demand tab is Employee Handbooks. So this tab will take you right back here. So like I mentioned, there's the 2 options. There's the Express Handbook, which let's say you have an audit on Friday and you need a handbook in place now. You can go and do the Express option, or you can do the Professional option where an actual HR pro touches the handbook and adds any specific policies that you wanted. It includes that 1-hour consultation. Or like I mentioned, if you already have a handbook in place, we can go ahead and review that for you. Another thing to mention with the HR On Demand service is that each HR On Demand account gets 1 seat in our live sexual harassment prevention training for supervisors. So if you operate in California, Connecticut, or Maine, it does meet those requirements that are required by the state. But this is also just nice to have for any client, for any of you who just want your supervisors trained on sexual harassment. And then the My Tickets tab is where all of your correspondence with the HR pros is going to be stored. So every HR question that you ask is going to be stored in here, whether you gave us a phone call or whether you submitted your question through the support center. It's all going to be stored in here. That way, if after the fact you just need to double check and see what advice our HR pro gave you, you will always be able to refer back to that, as well as any documents. So let's say you had to call about, unfortunately you had to do a termination. Our HR pro is going to provide the advice on that termination, and then they're also going to provide you with any documents that are related to that termination. So any state termination forms that you may need to complete, or any federal forms that you may need to complete, or any termination letters that you need to provide. They'll all be stored in here. Your handbook will be in here as well as any documents that you have created. All right, so that's everything that I kind of wanted to go over today. If you do have any additional questions after the webinar, go ahead and shoot your payroll representative a question and we will go ahead and answer that for you. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day and the rest of their weekend coming up. All right, have a great day, everyone.